Hey everyone, this is Whitney Barkley and I am the Chief Connector of the Barter Babes. I am so excited to have Miss LaConya Murray on with us. LaConya is a small business attorney and she is also the owner and CEO of Off the Mark IP Solutions. So more than likely, you joined this webinar because you wanted to know how to get your business protected legally. So we're going to talk all about that today. And again, I just want to I want to welcome everyone who is new to the Barter Babes. So just in case you guys didn't know, the Barter Babes stands for Bold, Ambitious Bosses Exchanging Services. We help female entrepreneurs exchange services to get rid of the startup costs in their business. And one of the ways that we help is by doing this series, Babes in Charge. We invite experts from all over who talk about different levels of things that you need in your business to help you build a foundation. So LaConya is going to talk all about legal today, and we are going to get excited. So thank you so much again for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very excited. I love what you're doing here at Barter Babes. It's an excellent, amazing concept that you have put into reality. I know that it's helping thousands of women who are looking to start businesses. It's fun. That's a great idea.
Thank you. Well, I'm hoping to help the thousands. We've been around for about almost 2 years now, so we are ready to go. So Connie, about you. So I've heard a lot of great things about you. And one of the things, I heard that you had a very interesting path into getting into law. So can you kind of explain to us how you kind of got into this business?
How I got into it? Well, I will tell you that sometimes the road less traveled is the way that you sometimes take. And even though I knew that I wanted to be an attorney at like a really early age, life happened. And so for me, it wasn't straight high school, college, law school. It's more like high school, college, party, a little distraction. Had my first child while I was in my second year of undergrad. So it took about an extra year to graduate, and then I took some time to make sure that we were okay. We had a foundation that I could provide for her. That was really, rough being not knowing, where I was going to stay and how we were going to eat and things of that nature. But God blessed me with an opportunity to move. So I live in Huntsville, and I moved to Birmingham to go to school. And at one point, I moved back to Huntsville for like 6 months in between jobs. But I was still in school, so I was in Huntsville driving back and forth to Birmingham. And then one of my ex-coworkers said, "Hey, there is a position here. Do you want it?" And I said, "Sure." It was in the apartment business. So I was in the apartment business for about 4 years before I went to law school. But it was while I was there that I had the opportunity to go to law school presented itself to me. I was working in the leasing office as an assistant manager, making great money, living great. Anything I wanted, I can do. I was making good money. But this young lady came in and put in her notice. And I said, "Well, where are you leaving?" Because I knew she was in law school. I said, "Why are you leaving?" She said, "Oh, well, I'm moving to Montgomery." I said, "Well, what about law school?" "Oh, I'm just going to go to the school there." "Well, why would you go to a school? Why would you leave a school that's accredited and go to a school that's not accredited?" "Oh, they have their accreditation." I was in law school 2 weeks later.
Wow.
I was like, word. Okay, because they had a part-time program, so it was perfect for me. It allowed me to work and go to school, or in my case, have 2 more babies and go to school. I tell my husband that I'm not going back to school. There's some kind of correlation between school and kids, and he says that's not how that works, but he cannot otherwise. So yeah, that's how I got into law school and how I got here. Like even when I was younger, and I knew I wanted to be an attorney, and I also knew I wanted to help business owners, and I didn't know what that meant because I'm a little older, so we didn't have like the internet like we do now. We were in Birmingham over the weekend. I told my kids, "See, that's where I had all my classes, and that building right there is the computer center because everyone didn't have computers back then. We had to go and sign in, wait our turn to get like an hour of computer time." And they were like, "What?" So, but I just knew I just wanted to help business owners. That's something that I always wanted to do. So once I graduated, about a year after working with an attorney here locally, I started my own practice. And about a year after that, that's when I niched down to what I do now, and I love it.
Wow. So why entrepreneurs? Why not Why not anything else? Why do you work with entrepreneurs specifically? Like, what excites you about working with this population of people?
Possibilities, helping people pursue their passion. I truly believe that we're all put here for a purpose, and that God gave us everything that we needed in order to provide and take care of ourselves. And when we follow that passion and follow that purpose, that we will be absolutely okay. And I just want to be a vessel. I want to help people. That just makes me so happy to be able to encourage people and teach people and talk to people about how they can do and accomplish the goals they set out for themselves. And one of the reasons that I started Off the Mark is because I read some statistics that said that, well, we all know about 50% of businesses fail after the first 4 years. But 46% of those businesses fail because of the owner's incompetence. They literally do not know what they need to do in order to stay afloat, in order to succeed, in order to have a sustainable business. And I wanted to help with that. One of the things that I found is that people are intimidated by attorneys, and I have no idea why. We're such great people. We're down to earth. You can come, you can talk to us, but people are intimidated. And because of that, when they're intimidated too, they think that it's just way too expensive. So they don't even pick up the phone. They don't even seek out the information. And so maybe they're using Google or, talking to their friend who really hadn't been in business, and they're not getting the right information. And I really wanted to put a stop to that, because I believe that small businesses, starters, entrepreneurs, we're going to be the thing that brings this economy back. We're going to be the one that's creating jobs, and we're going to be the ones that actually start building businesses that last and pass that 4-year mark. That's what I'm going to be a part of.
Wow. I think that is amazing. And it's so true what you say. I think a lot of us, we focus on what we're really good at. And so when it comes to the rest of business, it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, what do I do? You could just kind of have that moment. And as far as approaching lawyers, I know that can be very intimidating for entrepreneurs. At one point in my life, I was very intimidated to actually go to talk to a lawyer, because I don't know, it gives a scary feeling. But I definitely believe that protecting yourself legally is the first step in the right direction for your business, because if it blows up the way that you want it to, you definitely need certain things in place. And with that being said, there's a few questions that a few people had in our community. So we have a community on Facebook called the Barter Babes community, and I asked some of our members to share some of the questions that they had. And one of the biggest ones, which kind of falls under your area of expertise, is the differences between a trademark, a copyright, and trade secrets. A lot of people, they know that they're out there. Some people think that they definitely need it. And I guess we're trying to figure out what instances do we actually need those things.
Well, that is an excellent question. I'm glad they asked that, because I know people call my office and they use them interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. I will tell you that they all are a form of intellectual property, which is intellect property, and property, so property of the mind, but each of them cover different things. So trademarks protect brand identifiers. So those are those things that help consumers like you and I readily identify the source. This is very important, the source of a good or a service. What I often see is people who come up with a great phrase or something, and they want to prevent other people from using it, because they realize, they just know that trademarks and copyrights, they give you the right to exclude others, but they only give you that right if you're actually using it as a trademark. So if it's not a source, if it's not identifying the source of a good or a service, it's not a trademark. Okay, so if you come up with this great phrase that no one else is using, you can't prevent people from using that phrase just because you came up with it. And the reason that I'm talking and horning in on that is because I've seen that like over the last 4 or 5 days. I've really seen that in a couple of groups that I'm in. So terms like Black Girl Magic, terms like Fleet, terms like all lives, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, things like that, in and of themselves, they're not trademarks. They're not. It's not until you're associated with something, a good or a service, that it becomes a trademark. So I know that there is a legal battle going on between Beverly Bonds of Girls Rock and
Essence, right?
Is it Essence, right? And so they're both trying to register the trademark, but as a service. So they have television shows. Both of them, I think, have television shows. So they're trying to register it on the same mark. So they're not just trying to prevent people from using Black Girl Magic. They want to prevent people from using Black Girl Magic as associated with television programs. And there's a difference. So them registering that mark as a television program wouldn't prevent me from using that on a t-shirt, because you see tons of t-shirts out there with that. And I would even argue, if I was someone else trying to prevent it, I would argue that Black Girl Magic is not a trademark, that there's nothing that you can do to make people think Black Girl Magic and automatically associate it with a good or a service because of the power and the movement behind it. You know, it's just not reduced to one thing. It's not just reduced to one service or one good or one company. It's bigger than that. And so that's a trademark.
Oh, okay.
So copyrights protect original works that are in a fixed, tangible form. And so by original, meaning that you came up with it on your own. It's not an idea. It's not something that you thought of and said, oh, I think that'd be a good idea. I want to write this book. I want to write this song. I want to write this movie. And the execution of that idea, original, meaning that's what a lot of people get messed up at. Oh, such and such stole my idea. No, ideas come a dime a dozen. Nobody cares about ideas. Like literally no one cares about ideas. What we care about is the execution of that idea. How did you bring that idea to life? So it's the execution that's important. Copyrights cover things, like I said, music, literary works, photography, choreography, artwork, computer programs, you know, anything that you can think of really that's an original. If it has like any amount of creativity to it, then it might be protected under copyrights. But one of the things that's not protected over copyrights, and the reason I'm talking about this again, because people are making millions of dollars off clothing line. And so I'm trying to be clear about what you can and cannot do. So, and again, with these phrases, people want to exclude people from using these phrases. And so they're not protected by trademarks and they're not protected by copyrights either.
Wow.
So trademarks protect the source, the brand identifying source of a good or a service. Copyrights protect original works that are in a fixed, tangible form. And the main thing you need to know about a copyright, especially when in this environment where you're bartering, exchanging services for services, is that the person that executes the idea, that brings it to life, is the person that owns it. So if I say, hey, Whitney, I have an idea for a logo. Can you do this for me? And I tell you what I want. I don't own that logo. I don't care if I paid you money. I don't care if we have an agreement that says that you'll do this if I do that. You own that because you brought it to life. The only way that I will own it is if we have a written agreement that has some type of a copyright assignment or a transfer that assigns your interest to me. And there are even some graphic designers that don't know that. But that's very important to know. The person that brings it to life is the person that owns it, unless they're an employee doing something in the scope of their job.
Wow. So you're telling me that if I'm a graphic designer, I work with you, and if I design something for you, and if we don't have some sort of formal written agreement that states that it belongs to you, it still technically belongs to me.
Yes, it belongs to you. And what that means is that you get to, and because you created it, you get to say how I use it. You get to decide whether or not you're going to give me full rights to it, if you're going to give me a license to it, to use it in a certain way. Some of my clients, what they do is graphic designers, they have different pricing tiers. So yes, I designed this logo for you, but you can only use it for business purposes, meaning you can use it on your business card, on your letterhead, on your website. You cannot use it for commercial purposes, meaning that you cannot put it on a t-shirt and sell. You cannot do anything that's associated with you on a product that you're going to sell. That will be a different price. If you want that, then that's your opportunity as a graphic designer to charge a higher price.
Wow. That is amazing. I've never knew that. I don't know if anyone else has known that, but I've never known that. That's very interesting. So, because I'm just thinking of this in so many different contexts. I'm thinking about musicians and people who are just creators or creatives and the things that they create, and they probably don't even realize that they can still technically own the rights to their work if they don't already have something written in set in stone.
And they absolutely need to, especially musicians. That's a big area right there, because most musicians, it's very rare that you have one person that does it all. Because you have the person that sings the song, you have the person that writes the song, you have the person that writes the music, and those can be the same person, or it can be three different people. So because I sing the song, doesn't mean that I have the right to tell someone else that they can also sing the song or put it in their movie. The person that controls that is the person that wrote the song. Then they only control the lyrics. you have to get permission from the person that wrote the melody in order to, so you need permission from all three people.
Wow.
Transferred. Because this person owns the melody, this person owns the lyrics, this person owns the right to sing their version of it.
Wow, that is amazing. Wow. Okay, this it is. So what about trade secrets? Because I've heard that term a lot.
So this is the thing, your trade secrets, we're going to come in close. Your trade secrets are those things that give you a competitive edge over your competition. If they knew it, then you would lose that edge. If they knew how you were marketing, if they knew what your automation was, if they knew, you know, what the secret formula for Pepsi was, you would lose your competitive edge. Because if everybody knew it, then it wouldn't be secret and specific to you. That's your magic sauce that brings people in. That's the stuff you want to hold dear and near to you. Okay, that's the stuff that if you're working with a third party, you're working with an employee, you want to make sure that they sign confidentiality agreement so that when they leave, your information stays here. That's that stuff that, because they are trade secrets, you put it in a binder somewhere, you know, in your SOP, and you label it confidential, and you keep it in your office locked up, because it's not something that you just lay around so anybody can find. Because if you don't make steps to protect it, then it's not a trade secret.
Wow.
So again, if it's something that if someone else were to find out, you would lose your competitive edge. It can be a trade secret, and you do not register trade secrets, because the thing you have to know is once you register, whether it's a trademark or a copyright, once you register it, it's open to the public. You know, it's public. So these trade secrets are not something that you register, it's something that you identify and you protect.
Wow. So essentially your trade secret is almost your secret sauce. It's a secret sauce that's keeping your business going. It's kind of like if you were someone who had a really, you know, you made the most amazing cookies in the world and you use a secret recipe or a secret element of your recipe, then that's something that you don't want to be revealed to someone else.
Exactly.
Okay. And so, and with that, because I do know entrepreneurs who are like bakers and people who cook. So how does that work when it comes to, because you know how you have to label like packaging for certain things, like if you were to package it and you understand what ingredients are inside, like how would that work? Like if you had a secret ingredient but you don't want to put it on the packaging label.
I wish I had something here. You can put the ingredients in without, because it's not, you can give me flour, sugar, and eggs, right? It all matters how I combine that. Like we can both have the same ingredients. If you mix yours a certain way and I mix mine a certain way, yours can come out 100 times better than mine. Mine can be garbage because you know what to do with the ingredients. I don't.
Okay, got you. Good. Okay, so no, this is good. So thank you for giving us that distinction. Now, this is kind of going back to trademarks. This is kind of a loaded question as well. But is it necessary to have a trademark? How do you know that you need one? How do you get one? And is there a resource that I can use to create my own? And how much does it cost? So this is kind of like a loaded question. So
it's a lot of questions. Let's break that down. Let's take it one by one. So the first question was,
is it necessary?
Is it necessary? It depends. I will say this. If this is a hobby for you, if this is something that you're doing for the moment, if this is not something that you're looking to grow, scale, possibly sell, possibly move and pass on to your family, then no, it's not necessary. If you are in business and this is something that you want to make your livelihood, this is something that you want to grow and maybe one day sell, this is something that you want to, when your kids grow up, this is something that you want to give them the opportunity to run, then you absolutely need to protect your brand. Trademarks are those things that help you stand out from the crowd. And it does that because it gives you the power to exclude. Not only exclude people from using your exact mark, but from marks that are similar to yours. Meaning that if someone, maybe they make a little bit of changes, but at first glance, consumers can be confused. It's the same as I don't know, Nori Black, the travel, the Airbnb for people of color. Well, when they first launched, because of all the problems the discrimination that's going on with Airbnb, Two separate people came up with an idea to launch a travel site or a stay place for people of color. And they both came up with the idea of calling it Nori Black. One has an E, one does not. And for the longest time, we thought they were the same company. Like, I know I did. I was like, okay, why, it's the same company. It wasn't until later that I found out that it was a separate company. And so that's why trademarks are important, because of trademarks. I know the two owners got together to try to work together, and it did not work out. And then one of them went and filed a trademark for both names, which was a waste of time and money, because you can get the protection with just the one name. Oh no. The one name would give you enough protection in order to prevent the other person with a similar name from registering.
Wow.
So that's why trademarks are important. They give you the power to exclude and let you operate in your space without someone else playing in your field. It lets you become the next Apple. It lets you become the next Microsoft. It lets you become, the next something big. It gives you that opportunity.
Okay.
The next question was,
how do you know that you need one? I think you kind of covered that. So how do you get one? That's probably the biggest one.
Well, the next thing I want to touch on one thing. Another reason you know that you need one. So if you're in Alabama and you're only providing services to people in Alabama, you don't need a federal trademark. Because one thing I will tell you is that you have a common law interest in your trademarks, meaning without even registering, you have an interest in your brand identifiers. Now that's limited to your geographical area. And so if you're not planning on doing business outside of your state, you don't really need a federal trademark. Because the federal government only has jurisdiction over things that happen in between states. So if you're not doing business in between states, they can't help you. You cannot get a federal trademark. So one, you need to make sure that you're doing business in between states. And two, you need to make sure be in the mindset that you want to do something big, that you want something, and you might not be doing it now, but I read a book, and I can't remember what book. I think it's called Built to Sell. It said, run your business the way that you see it 20 years from now. Don't run it the way it is now, when loan cash and trying to strap everything up. You need to go ahead and put systems and things in place so that eventually you will get to be able to run your business the way that you want to. And that even goes with protecting your intellectual property. Yes, it's not big now. Maybe you only have 5 or 10 customers, but if you have a plan, if you're going to work that plan, you've done your homework and you know what you need to do in your industry, then that's when you want to go ahead and register and get that trademark. And the way that you get that trademark is you call me and I do it for you. Because that is a service that we provide. But you go to uspto.gov, and that's where you can get the trademark. You can do your trade. You always want to start with a trademark clearance search. Always start with that, because what happens is oftentimes people rush out and they build these brands, and they spend money on logos and marketing and branding, and they hadn't done a trademark clearance search. And by the time they get to me, I'm like, oh, sorry, but you are infringing on someone's mark. So let's scrap this and start all over again.
Wow.
So
and you said it was USPTO, right?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, you said it was uspto.gov, right? This is where people can look up, make sure that their trademark is available or if it's taken, correct?
Right, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, resources. On average, how much does a service like this cost on average? Now, I heard that the prices for trademarks went up this year. Is that true?
They did. Well, the fee did. But my fee really wasn't affected by that, because I know how to fill out the application. I can fill out the Plus application, which is the one that you do everything online. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to do it yourself, you'll pay anywhere from $225 to $400 just in fees.
Okay.
And services, the prices range. I know there are people out there that do it for $99. My services are a lot more than $99 because you get a lot more. They go anywhere from $779 to $1,500. That includes the filing fee. But it also, with that, I believe, and my clients believe, in letting the dancers dance and the singers sing.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if you're coming to me for a trademark, that's because you want to concentrate on doing what you do best. And you don't have time to fool with no trademark, no application, no clearance search, and going back and forth with USPTO. That's what I'm for. And so that's what's included in my services. And that's why you get the higher price point, because you have that peace of mind that this is taken care of while you're handling other things that's going to help your business run.
That's correct. And so if the trademark doesn't go through, you won't be able to recoup any of these fees, correct? So if you spend $400, then you're straight out of $400, right?
Right. And so that's why you want to make sure you do a trademark clearance search. You know, some people, and then a lot of people, what I say is they do the application, but as soon as they get that first communication from USPTO, they don't respond because they have no idea how to respond. Because I'll be honest with you, if I sat here and said, "Oh, that application is so hard, oh my gosh," I'd be lying. I would honestly be lying to you. The application itself is not difficult, but you're not hiring me just to fill out an application, because that's not something that's really difficult to do. You're hiring me because you want me to make sure that your mark is available and that you're not infringing on anyone else's, and you want me to communicate with the USPTO. You want to increase your chances of your application being approved.
Okay, got you. No, this is good. I have one question. This is from, looks like it's from Shamiko in Cincinnati. She said, what's a good point in the business building process to file for a trademark or registration?
For me, I believe that it is a good point in the business. Like I said before, if you have done your homework, if you've done your business planning, and you know that you're serious about this business, first of all, you got to know yourself. Because a lot of people jump into stuff, but then they jump right back out of it. If that's you, then you want to wait a while to see if this is something that you're going to stick with, and you're going to be able to put the work in to make it grow. And that can be a few months, that can be a few years. It just depends on you. For me, I registered my trademark after being sure. First of all, I had to really make sure this is how I wanted to be seen. My trademark is off the mark. I just really want to make sure that this was how I wanted people to identify with me. And once I made that decision, because I was already in business and I was doing the rebranding I wanted to do, I went ahead and filed for my trademark. But you don't file for a trademark without doing your homework. And by homework, I mean your business plan. So that was a good question.
Business plan, perfect. Okay, so switching gears just a little bit. This question is actually from Valerie from the Barter Babes community. She wanted to know, how do you choose the best entity for your business? How do you choose between the LLC, LLP, S Corp, C Corp, etc.? Which has the best tax benefits? And I think this is a really good question because a lot of people just automatically resort to LLC. So,
right, and that's a good question. I don't do taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So for the tax part, I can't answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to your business entity, what I would tell you, you need to sit down and look at your goals. What is it that you want out of your business? Where do you see your business? For me, I see some people, automatically doing LLCs, but I also see a lot of people forming corporations just because they feel like it gives them more protection.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that you want to form an entity, one of the biggest things that people want to do is protect their business interests or their personal interests from their business liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reason that you would form a corporation or an LLC. Some people they're under the misunderstanding that having a corporation will give you stronger protection, but that's not true. If you're not planning on being public and sharing, having shares, you don't need a corporation right now. But the best way, that's not something that you can just kind of answer. You have to kind of sit down and identify what your goals are, and then we can choose and see which entity works best for you.
Okay, this is good. And let's see. Okay, and I have one more for the Barter Babes community. So for contracts, is it safe to use templates from sources like LegalZoom?
LegalZoom?
LegalZoom.
LegalZoom. I call them LegalZoom.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I had to fix so many things. People use LegalZoom and then they come to me to fix it. Because the thing about LegalZoom is that you don't have anybody you're just doing it yourself. they're walking you through it. But if you have questions, most people have questions. Why are you filling this out this way? Why are you doing this? What does this mean? And so that's the benefit of using an attorney. Now you can use templates. I sell templates on my website, but most of the people that purchase templates from my website are people that have interacted with it. People who maybe saw me on something like this, or I've done a talk or something about the agreement, and they know, okay, this is the agreement that I need. This is the purpose that it serves. If you have the choice and the funds, I will always say get something specifically drafted for you. Because circumstances change, things are different. But if you use a template, make sure you get a template from somebody or an organization that you trust, somebody that you might be able to ask a question to, because they are lawyers. People, when you're purchasing LegalZoom, they're not lawyers. If you want to be connected with a lawyer, I think that's like an additional fee. So that's that.
Okay, so it sounds like you might as well just connect with the lawyer anyway, because if you have those extra,
Right.
They can answer it. Okay. Now, so it kind of segues into this question about prepaid legal services. Are they appropriate if entrepreneurs don't have the budget to hire a regular full-time, just like a regular head-on lawyer?
Prepaid legal services. Now, I've seen some of those plans, and I can't speak to that because I don't know exactly how they work. But I will say that businesses absolutely can benefit from having some type of outside general counsel. And before they say, again, like we said in the beginning, I think some people just price themselves out of it without even communicating with an attorney. I know I have packages that start as low as like $250 a month for outside general counsel services, because what you want to do, especially if you're in the beginning phase of your business, you want somebody that's going to be able to walk you through and answer the phone when you call and let you know whether or not you're setting up and doing things the right way. And even if you're in business and you're thinking about growing, and that's one of the things I love about entrepreneurs, they're always doing something, always launching, always creating. And I think that really speaks to the creative part of me.
Mm-hmm.
You want someone to say, hey, I have this idea to do X, Y, and Z. And then I'm like, okay, you can do X, Y, and Z, but you need to watch out for 1, 2, and 3. So those are the benefits of having that general counsel and having some type of retainer plan. And if you're not there yet, and I always say that those services are for people who are either just starting up, or maybe they're starting up and then now they have employees, or if you're in like a heavily regulated industry or something of that nature. But if you're not able to afford that service yet, then you might want to just have someone that you can call when you need them and pay a consultation fee.
Okay.
And that might be it for you. Because, like some of the plans, I know like with some of my plans, they include not just communication, but let's say you're launching a business, they include drafting contracts, they include forming the LLC, trademarks. Like we have different plans that go from like down here to up here, just depending on your needs and the size, and we try to grow with you.
Okay, that's good. Now, kind of just going into some of the mistakes, because you've been in the business for a while now. So what would you say are the top legal blunders that you see first-time entrepreneurs make when they start a business? So what are things that people just kind of do bad off of the rip?
Off the rip is just jumping right into it without doing any kind of homework, without any kind of planning, just going in and selling, and then not realizing that they're in business when they are in business. Some people feel like, well, I'm not in business until I get my paperwork together. But if you're already selling and making money, exchanging goods and services for money, you are in business. Especially if you're making any kind of profit, you are in business. And so some people are operating without licenses, without permits, and they're just setting themselves up for failure. Some people are operating in things that could be potentially harmful to other people, and they're doing so without the right insurance in place. They're doing so without the right entity to protect their personal assets from their business liabilities. So that's one of the things. The second thing I would say is not reaching out to people and having that support and expecting their friends and family to be that support. Your friends and family aren't your support. You can't be mad at them because they don't understand your vision. You need to get you a community of people, like-minded people who understand what you're going through. And then when you shut it down for the night and you go home with your friends and family, you need to leave that there. And I'm preaching to the choir because I'm the worst. Like my kids, if you ask my kids right now, what's my favorite thing to do? What's my favorite?
Hey, Connie. I can hear you.
Can you see me?
Oh, I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Okay, my phone completely died. I apologize. Let me get the camera back on, but give me 1 second.
No worries.
All right. I see me, but you don't see me.
Let's see.
And I don't see you.
Let's see. Can you see me now? It says that you're presenting for some reason. Okay, here we go. I see you now, I think.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know why you don't see my cameras on.
Okay, here we go. For some reason, when you were on a few minutes ago, the other one was still on. It was saying that you were in here twice.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right. So the top 3 things. 1 is just jumping and starting a business without any kind of preparation, any kind of homework or due diligence. 2 is not having the right support team around you, depending on your friends and family to be that support when they don't understand. They don't understand why you're obsessed with, marketing and sales funnels and things of that nature. And 3, it's not managing and knowing your numbers. That is really harmful in a business. There's a book that I would recommend every person that's in business read. It's called Profit First, and it's by Mike. What's his last name? I can't recall his last name.
It's called Profit First.
Yeah, Profit First. But it's a really great book because another thing that we do is we go into business and we make money and we never pay ourselves. We just put it all back into the business, but you got to eat. You got to eat. And so if you're running a business that's not allowing you to eat, maybe you should consider scaling into that, not just jumping straight into it, but maybe working a part-time job that allows you to grow your business so that you can work in, be in it full time. Okay. And another thing that we do that I really want to combat is that we remain employees of our business way too long. Because if you are in business and you're the only person in your business, you are an employee. If you go on vacation and your business shuts down when you leave, you are an employee. That's not what we're going into business for. We're going into business so that we can grow sustainable, scalable businesses, so that we can create jobs. And we wait too long to bring other people in. You cannot grow alone. You cannot have the success that you want by yourself. And you do not, and we're afraid. We are definitely afraid. We want it, but we're afraid of bringing people in. Because it's a headache, it's a hassle. But if you have the right systems in place, if you start off with the right systems, bringing someone in won't be so much trouble.
Wow, I think that's huge. I mean, and that's a good way to think about that. A lot of people don't think that they're essentially an employee of their business when it's just them by themselves. And I mean, and that's what I find a lot with the entrepreneurs that I meet. Most women are just kind of solopreneurs, and it's so frustrating because you're trying to do everything by yourself. And that ideal of actually scaling, like people are doing it just for the now. Like for some people, it's very hard to be a visionary and think about where they want to see their business 20 years from now, which includes actually hiring one and bringing in employees. So I think that's definitely huge. Mm-hmm. Now, what tips do you have for entrepreneurs who want to seek or hire a lawyer? So what should they be looking for when they're trying to actually hire someone? When they actually get past that, oh my gosh, I can't afford it to, okay, I know that I need somebody. What should they be looking for exactly?
They should look for someone that complements them. You need to look for someone that fills the voids. There are some things that you are just not good at. And those are the things you need to pass off to someone that loves to do it. and you need to make sure that you're hiring the right fit. Personality wise, they don't have to be your twin, but personality wise, you're going to have to mesh because you're going to be in the same environment together. You need someone that's going to be your yin to their yang. They're going to be their yang to the yin. You're going to have to kind of mesh together. I know that for me, I just made my first, and I've worked with virtual assistants. I've been using some type of help for like the last 3 years, I believe, the last 3 years. So you just want to make sure that you're very open about what you need. And the biggest mistake that I see people do when it comes to employees is they try to hire one person to do everything. That one person, again, we won't let the dancers dance and the singers sing. Okay? You need to nurture and cater to what that person's strengths are, because you want the best out of them. You want your company to be associated with greatness. If this person is really good at something, like something here, but they're just kind of mediocre at this right here, you don't want them doing what they're mediocre at. You want to hire someone that's really great at this thing so that you have excellence all around. And you want to communicate with them what you want. Don't expect to hire them and for them to set up and kind of tell you how your business needs to be ran. They need to come in and you need to tell them what you need from them and how you want it done. This is Off the Mark IP Solutions. This is how we answer the phones. This is how we deal with customer complaints. This is how we deal with clients that are looking for information. This is how we file things in the folders. This is how, all the time we hire people and we're like, okay, great, I need this to be filed. I need you to answer the phone, this, that, and other, but we never tell them how. You need to start off creating that company culture and having some type of SOP. Standard operating procedures.
Standard operating procedures. Got you.
When we come in the morning, first thing we do is turn the lights on. Next thing we do is turn the computers on. We check the voicemail. We check the email. We only check the email 3 times a day, because if we check it, we leave it up for the notification to come on, we wouldn't get anything done because people are constantly emailing. You check voicemail twice a day. You know, just things like that you need to have in place when they come in.
Wow. Can your process of how you run so could that count as a trade secret? Just curious, your processes and what you were saying, because I think what a lot of because so many people are so used to doing things on their own, they're not used to like actually showing someone how to do whatever. So I can see where you would see that, of people not just telling people, yeah, just go ahead and do it, because they're so used to doing it on their own. They've never really trained anyone before.
Right. And then they get frustrated. Oh, they're not doing it right. I just do it myself. I told them how to do it. So of course they're not doing it the way you want them to do it, because you haven't communicated to them what needs to be done.
That's great. And I just wanted to say, for those who are watching, if you guys do have any questions, be sure to let us know. I know we had a few earlier in the comments, but if you're just tuning in, I know a few people just started to tune in. Please make sure that you're asking questions. But I do have several more though. So there are some people who share the opinion that there are some things an entrepreneur can handle without the assistance of a lawyer. What are things that you absolutely believe that a lawyer should be consulted for? Okay, there we are. You want to have some type of operating agreement in place that speaks to how you guys are going to operate and run your business, even if you're a solopreneur, because what happens is you're a solopreneur and then maybe you bring on a partner. But if you just bring on that partner without some type of written agreement in place, then you're going to be bound by whatever the norms are. You absolutely need an attorney to assist you with your intellectual property, because there's more to it. When people think trademarks and copyrights and patents, they just think, okay, I just need to register it. There's so much more to intellectual property than just, let me just put it this way. Registering your intellectual property is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It's not the end of it. It's just, that's when everything else takes place. So now you need someone to monitor it.
You need someone to make sure and defend it if they see someone infringing on it. You need someone to litigate if necessary. What are some other things? I know I have, a couple of clients that just call me for anything. I mean, everything. If you're in business, just depending on what phase you are in business, if you're in business, you don't have time to deal with everything. So it's always great to say, hey, even when you get contracts, hey, read over this contract. Let me know if this furthers my interest, because you have a relationship with that attorney. The way that I work with my clients is I don't just do stuff. I make sure that you know why you're doing what you're doing. I make sure, even through the trademark, if you get a trademark with me, you're going to know what a trademark is, why you're registering this, what you can do to defend it, what the next step is, why you might want to look at trademarking something else. You're going to know so you can make informed decisions. And so even though you're letting me handle this for you, you are aware of what's going on and you are capable of making an informed decision on what you want to do next. And that's really important when you're looking for an attorney.
Wow. Okay. So it's really just really understanding what it is that you need the attorney, well, realizing that you do need the attorney, but ultimately trying to create a relationship with them too. So to make sure that they're protecting your best interests and they're not just doing stuff just because.
Right.
That makes sense. So, so as you know, everything kind of changes in this landscape. So, laws are consistently being changed, which can potentially affect how we do business. So how do you recommend for entrepreneurs to keep up with the different laws that come out? Like, how do you keep up with that as an entrepreneur?
I attend conferences and CLEs, continuing learning education. That's part of my professional requirements to keep my license. I have to have a certain number of educational credits per year, and I focus mine on the areas where I practice law. So you won't see me at a family law CLE just because it's free, because they don't have nothing to do with what I'm doing. And I also attend industry conferences. So even if you're not an attorney, if you are in an industry, let's say you own a beauty salon, let's say you make makeup, let's say you sell t-shirts, you can go to industry conferences and they will absolutely discuss the things that are changing legally in the industry.
Okay, perfect. And wow, okay, so let me see. I just want to check, make sure I don't have any questions. Okay, so I have 2 more questions for you. Okay. So first and foremost, so is there anything coming up with you that we need to know about? I mean, because I look at your website and it seems like you always have something going on. You have a really robust resource page too. So anything coming up with you that people should know about?
Oh my goodness, I do have. You guys need to join my email list, because I do have something that's coming out like toward the end of the summer that's going to be amazing. I can't really speak on it now. We are launching the 30 days to launch. It's not a book tour, it's like a book conference where people invite us into their small groups and we go over the business plan workbook and the business plan and the business book that we have. And I have a conference that I'm speaking at in June, just like you said, everywhere. So like us on Facebook so you can know what's going on and keep up with us, because we have a lot of things going on. Like I said, we just launched our service for the outside general counsel. So if you are someone that's in need of an attorney on a regular basis, absolutely reach out to us so we can give you some more information for outside general counsel. Or if you just have a question, schedule a legal consultation. I love what I do and I love speaking to you guys. So if you have questions, absolutely reach out and I'll be glad to talk with you.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do attorneys barter at all? Like, how does that work with attorneys? Because I know like there's some level of red tape there, but do you know any attorneys who actually barter, and what would that look like if someone ever wanted to barter with an attorney?
I think attorneys do barter. Our problem is that we can't split legal fees. So what I can't do is you refer someone to me and then I, give you money. But let's say you had something that I need and I had something that you need, I can absolutely say, hey, I'll do this trademark for you in exchange for you doing X, Y, Z. I can't have, and there is some red tape because I can't have like an interest in, like, let's say you're starting a business, and I'm going to help you start that business. I can't be like, have any kind of ownership or anything. It's like there's red tape that way, but as far as bartering, like services for services, that's something that lawyers do.
So as long as it's something simple, like if I was just like, oh, can you look over this contract, and in exchange I'll make this logo or website, assuming that,
Right.
they both amounted to the same amount of services, but that something like that would be okay versus, okay, I'm going to court and I have these fees. Obviously that person will need to cover the fee if they needed you to be.
Right, and that's the thing with the barter. So we might be able to exchange our services, but the fee, you still be responsible for the fee.
Okay.
So even though the trademark, I can do the trademark, but you have to pay the application fee.
Okay, perfect, good. Now, are there any last pieces of advice that you would like to share with everyone?
Last pieces of advice. Stay strong, man. Don't be discouraged. This is an amazing journey. It can be, just because it's amazing doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. But if you feel like this is something that you are truly meant to do not give up. Find your tribe and stick with them. Always learn. Always be on the lookout for knowledge. But it's not just about what you know. My kids, I have 3 girls, and my middle child, she's 9 now. She started a t-shirt line because she wants to encourage young kids. But one of her shirts says, read more. Let's say read more, learn more, do more. So it's not just about the reading, it's not just about the learning, but you have to actually implement what you have learned. And you need to know, just make sure that you're ready for everything that's coming your way. Everything that you're asking for, make sure that you're ready and you have the right processes in place. I mean, I don't know where you are in your business right now, but wherever you are, you need to stop and start writing down your processes and creating your systems. How do you do X? How do you do Y? How do you do Z? How can you make those things happen more efficiently? Like if you're like in the beginning stages of your business, I'm telling you, it will save you so much time and headache to go ahead and define those things. And the easiest way to do that is just walk your way through it. Okay, I walk in, what's the first thing that I normally do? Write it down. How do I normally answer the phone? Okay, write it down. How do I do this? And how do I want it? And just write it down little by little.
Wow. Well, thank you. No, this is good. Thank you. I think this was very informative. I definitely learned a lot, especially about the trade secrets. There was some stuff that I definitely didn't know about that, and the copyright too. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of creatives, so I think this is definitely great information. I really do appreciate you taking the time out because, I mean, people had a ton of legal questions. The majority of my questions stem from the community. So thank you. And thank you for everyone for watching. So if you are watching, please be sure to join our community. We have a group on Facebook called the Barter Babes community. That is a great place just to meet people if you want to barter, if you're looking for information about how to run a sustainable or successful business. We do it all there. And of course, make sure you please visit Connie's website. It's offthemarkipsolutions.com, right? Or is it just Off the Mark Solutions? It's
offthemarkipsolutions.com. Okay. I will tell you, we're having technical difficulties. I hired someone to do my website and they kind of messed it up. And I'm really sad right now. So I got to get somebody to fix it. I got to figure out how to fix it. But it should be up and running within by tomorrow, hopefully. It can't be down much longer. But absolutely like us on Facebook so you'll get the word up when our site is back up. And we have tons of resources. Like Whitney said, we have lots of resources. Our YouTube channel, we just launched a YouTube channel. Yeah. And it's called Beyond the Launch TV. And I'm proud of that because people start businesses, but like we said, they don't have the foresight to think about beyond what's right now. I want you to create businesses, sustainable businesses, so you can have legacies. We need to leave legacies for our kids, right? We need to cultivate generational wealth. We need to stop leaving our kids, leaving here and leaving our kids with nothing. And so that's one of the things that I really want to help people with. And so that's why I launched Beyond the Launch TV. So like us on YouTube.
I'm going to do that once we get off because that is exciting. But thank you. No, thank you. Seriously, this was a wealth of information. What I plan to do, so for those who signed up using the Eventbrite link, I will send you all a link to the replay, of course, but I will also send a PDF of just some of the gems we learned tonight, just so you can have as a worksheet for your reference, and you can get on the right track to getting your business legally protected. So again, I am Whitney Barkley, and I'm the Chief Connector of the Barter Babes. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to tune in June as we will be talking about sales. We're going to be talking about why you shouldn't let your business go away during the summer, and how to really maximize your time during the summer to create a sustainable business.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.